I would like to call Mr. Rajan Navani, President IDGS, founder and CEO of JetSynthesys, to come on stage, please. We have Mr. Hyunil, CEO, KRAFTON India. We have Mr. Prosenjit Ghosh, National Council Executive IDGS, and National Head for PlayStation SONY India with us. And we have Mr. Vikram Sahay, Joint Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting with us for the inaugural. May I request Mr. Rajan Navani to please join the dais.
A very good morning to all of you, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this event of the India Digital Gaming Society, really addressing a subject that is, how do we really build a sustainable gaming future? You know, gaming is one area of activity that excites, pretty much every young person. And today, as we are seeing, data is showing, 500 million people in India have downloaded a game or have tried to play a game or have started to get excited about it. And I do remember the journey of the India Gaming Show, the Indian Digital Gaming Society, and CII as a Confederation of Indian Industry, talking about a new industry being developed in India that can not only shape and cater to the aspirations of the young Indian demography, but also use the talent pool that we have as a country to cater to this $180 billion huge part of the media and entertainment industry that is being shaped up. So in that light, we're really, really privileged today to have with us Mr. Vikram Sahay, who is the Joint Secretary from the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. Thank you, Vikramji, for being here with us. I think it always, adds to the understanding of any industry when we do have a conversation together with people who are responsible helping us shape the industry. I must compliment Vikramji and the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting for really being very proactively looking at the AVGC sector to be able to guide us as a society, the industry, and work collaboratively to see how we can, shape the video gaming industry as we move forward as one area of entertainment that is getting scale, not only in India, but as I mentioned earlier, around the world. So I think we stand at a time when not only are we going to see growth and scale, but I think the larger point is how do we make that scale sustainable? And I think towards that, we have a very, very interesting day-long conference today that is going to cover many, many aspects of this entire space. What is the India opportunity? Where are the investments in the video game industry coming from? How are large global players integrating with us in India? We are going to talk to startups. We have a startup showcase, a large networking around that. And how will really the transformation of the India gaming industry happen? And last but not the least, I think while we talk about how the Indian and the global gaming industry will be shaped through new technologies, we also want to look at the areas of esports, which is a very natural extension of gaming. And today with esports, even in the India context being described as a part of the sports ministry and the global push around Asian Games and Olympics, our dream is that India will win a medal at the Olympics, in the esports environment. And hopefully it will be also on games that have been created out of India. And, the future around competitiveness of gaming as a sport is something that, truly excites us as an industry. So I think there are many, many aspects to the video game industry, Vikramji, and I think it's very, very important for us to see how we can collaborate with you and the government to be able to make, the right steps, take the right initiatives, both as an industry for India and for the world. And one last interesting point there is the number of people who are watching esports is growing at a crazy pace today. I mean, I think on television, after cricket, which is, of course, a very large part on the digital platforms, and of course, we do have Kabaddi, and we have Kho and other games that are there, but there is a large viewership on the esports that has started to happen from a generation which is very different. and a generation that is entertaining itself very differently. So I think there are many, many levers to innovation, to how the media and entertainment industry will be shaped differently over the, coming years. I also want to welcome, on the dais here today, Sohn, who is not only a close friend and somebody who is, a person who has really taken India to the core. I mean, KRAFTON has been one of the larger investors in India, in the gaming industry. It has brought a large part of its titles to India, committed to the development of India, has spent $150 million already in investments and committed recently to invest an equivalent amount, over the next few years. So I think the excitement of the global gaming industry to participate in India as an ecosystem player here, I think, and that's the big difference. And, we've seen Korean companies in the past, whether it is an LG, whether it is a Samsung, many of them talk about a large part of these Korean companies as Indian brands, and don't even distinguish, because you become so integral as a part of the, country. And I think this opportunity in a sunrise industry like gaming is also one, where we are looking at the right partners who really care about building the gaming ecosystem, in India. While we do have a large number of global companies from the West who have been part of Indian digital gaming society, be it Google, be it Microsoft, it's great to see how other companies and other countries are also becoming a part of it. One other country which has been a very, very strong part of the development and shaping of the Indian digital gaming society is Japan. We do have people from Japan here also, but Prosenjit represents SONY, the entire growth of the PlayStation and many, many other areas that we see. So, a very warm welcome, Sohn and Prosenjit, and thank you for being here. And, we look forward to hearing your views as well, on how this industry can be shaped together, in a very collaborative manner to be able to position India, to a place where it needs to be. As a matter of fact, I think India will shape the future of gaming. It will shape the future of esports. It's only a matter of how long will it take before that happens. I mean, we are home to the largest youth demography. 1 in 10 people in the world today is an Indian under the age of 25. So not only will it be shaped from consumption, but also as a talent pool, for an industry that is significantly large and requires multiple skills to really be able to do justice to what, the industry requires, be it design, be it, product development, be it engineering, be it art, be it creative, be it animation. All of these aspects are key drivers of creating and shaping, a very strong institution, a very strong methodology, a framework for seeing how India can build upon its future in the gaming industry. And I think that is what excites us about what the future holds here, how we will be able to, take it from here. And, last but not the least, I want to welcome each one of you here. Thank you for being here. We've been doing these road shows in different parts of the country. We were in Bangalore, and we take up different subjects of gaming and really look at what we can do and achieve, as we move forward. So really request all of you also to participate through this day-long event, really make your meaningful contribution, because we are at a time, yesterday was a very proud moment for India when we landed on the moon. The Chandrayaan was a big time. We are hosting the G20, and there's so much activity and buzz here in India at a presidency. And, it is really the emerging of India, especially as we move in this Amrit Kaal to India at 100. And I truly believe that gaming and esports, the video game industry, media and entertainment from India will also play a very strong role in shaping the future of this industry in the world. So thank you. Thank you everyone for being here. May I now invite Sohn, from KRAFTON to kindly share his thoughts on the industry.
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for, I'm really honored to be invited to such honorable events. And I'm also happy to share some of my thoughts on India gaming market and also global gaming market. I think because I'm the first person in today's whole session, And assuming that there are there are some folks in the audience that who doesn't really play games by themselves. I just want to give sort of high-level sort of trends in the gaming market in global and in India. And I have a few sort of points how we can grow India gaming market together. As Rajan introduced, my name is Sohn. I'm working for KRAFTON India as a CEO of India. We are now servicing 4 mobile games for Indian market specifically. Of course, we are a global gaming company, so we have like 8 offices and 10 development studios across globe. We are seeing like dramatic changes in global gaming market. Generally, gaming used to be like smaller industry among entertainments, all other entertainments. But now we are seeing that the size of global gaming market is roughly $230 billion US, which is 80% of the size of movie and video industry combined. So it is now equivalent size of like mainstream entertainment industry, which has been there like for century. If you look at Korea, because I'm from South Korea, so I want to give you some quick ideas about how Korea gaming market has evolved. So for Korea gaming market, it's roughly $15 billion US, and that is like more than twice of the size of film and video industry combined. So in a country like South Korea, which has like good broadband and mobile internet networks, now gaming become larger mainstream entertainments, surpassing traditional entertainments that has been there for more than 100 years. So I believe we want to be a like Indian company, as Rajan pointed out. Many Korean companies want to become an Indian company. We also want to become a truly Indian company. So if we want to grow India gaming industry to the level of the global level, we believe that there are a few points that we can think about. The first thing is India has a unique advantage because all other countries has been through like console gaming, PC gaming, arcade gaming, and now they are becoming transferred to mobile gaming. But India gamers and developers are more like mobile native. So Indian game developers and Indian game publishers, they started their business mainly from mobile gaming, and they have a strength in terms of how to serve the mobile gamers better than compared to other traditional gaming companies. So one of the investment that we made in India, there is a company called Nodewin. So I believe like among Nodewin's revenue, 80, maybe close to 90% of the revenue is coming from mobile esports gaming events. I think for other countries like Saudi Arabia or US or Europe, most of esports are happening around PC and console. So that's a big difference. I think given the sort of trends that we are seeing from Middle East, Africa, and other emerging countries, I think mobile gaming will become a bigger part of the gaming industry. So that's one of the strengths that we can find from India. And then obviously India also has a very big talent pools in art and also engineering side. There are like 3 pillars of game development. The first is game design, which is kind of like making blueprints for games. And second thing is art. And third thing is programming. So India has a very good advantage in 2 pillars out of these 3 pillars. The game design is definitely need the time to nurture and improve. But I think India has a good talent pool, at least among I mean, it's two pillars among these three. So that's a second strength India can have. And third point is definitely the big market. I mean, the current size of the India gaming market, normally people are saying it's roughly around 3 billion. And we are saying the Indian gamers are now like 500 million, but we believe that the true gamers might be the range of 100 million plus minus, which is not as big as, let's say, China or US, but given the very inexpensive cost of mobile internet and wide penetration of smartphones, I think the number of gamers will increase very fast. I think that will open up more opportunities for gaming companies like us. So those three things are, I think, the strength of the potential of India gaming market. But on the other hand, I also want to emphasize we need the support and strong guidance from the government. We have Vikramji here, so I have privilege to speak, what governments can do about India gaming industry. I can also share my personal experience. I also talk about this to Rajan once before when we first become friends. I started my career in gaming when I was like 22, when I just graduated from university. As you might be aware, like Israel, South Korea also need all male go to army. So I was supposed to go to army after graduate from the college, but I was the second generation of baby boomers after the Korean War. So there were too many boys given the slots that we have for army. So the Korean government back then had a policy that if you work for a high-tech company, you can replace your military service by working for the company as long as you have an engineering degree and etc. So I took that opportunity and I started my career in gaming. There are like maybe at least 5,000 or 6,000 people every year who took that choice, not just for gaming, but also for like semiconductor industry, other like e-commerce or internet like platforms and etc. But I think that opens up the job opportunity for, I'm not saying that I'm very smart, but that opens up a job opportunity for top talents who wants to find a job opportunity as early as possible. So there are first generation of entrepreneurs in Korea who find their passion and ambition in gaming and also other platform businesses. So I'm not saying that India government should do something like this, but I think that's one example. And these days, the Abu Dhabi in UAE, they provide 50% subsidy for the labor expenses for gaming companies. And also, it's been quite, it's a long history, but like Quebec state in Canada, they provide 30 to 37.5% subsidy, tax credit for labor cost of gaming companies. That shows actually how governments around the world regard gaming business as a one of future growth driver for job creation and the quality, and the new business opportunities. So, as we all know that India needs, more tax revenue to develop the country, but at the same time, I hope that India government can find a creative way to promote the industry. I think that's pretty much what I want to share today. I have another session in the panel discussion, so I'm happy to share more thoughts from my side. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sohn, for sharing that perspective and really shaping your thoughts around not only the Indian gaming industry, but also sharing your Korean example and how the world has seen gaming grow. And I'm sure India will benefit from that knowledge. I'm now going to request Prosenjit Ghosh, the national head for PlayStation and Sony here in India, and also an executive council member of IDGS. He's been with IDGS pretty much from day one to share his thoughts on the industry growth and also around the hardware side of gaming. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajan. Thank you, everyone. ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests and fellow enthusiasts. Actually, I have been with Sony for about 20 years now, gaming side 11 years. And before we came in here, I was discussing with Rajan. We've seen a sea change actually happening in gaming, everything has changed. The kind of enthusiasm that we see for gaming today is vastly different from what we used to see in the early days. If you think about it, how has this actually come about? Basically, two elements that we see having changed. As a context that, because before the pandemic, we were able to interact with maybe hundreds and thousands of consumers because we used to do a lot of these hands-on events, etc. And we see a major shift in the way customers look at gaming. There are basically two angles that we see. One is the cultural angle. With one of our guests here, we were having a discussion that maybe a decade ago, gaming was considered a kind of niche or an anti-studies kind of, there was an outlook regarding gaming that way. That has begun to change. Maybe the generation has changed. So now it is no more. It is what we have kind of spoken a little while back was about mainstreaming. We see gaming becoming a mainstream kind of entertainment, almost at par with, let's say, the other mainstream entertainments in India, like cricket or movies. That's one major cultural change that we see happening, which is extremely exciting. The other element which we see is, of course, there is the entire infrastructure, the growth of the tremendous speed of the internet, the tremendous power of the youth, the way retail has changed, and all these other factors. That's the other. These are the two wheels which are basically changing gaming, very, very fast. So the gaming industry, which was often perceived as a mere form of recreation, has actually evolved into a powerhouse of innovation and is driving technological breakthrough across various domains. And in the recent years, India has emerged as a significant player in this sector owing to its rapidly expanding middle class, burgeoning tech-savvy youth, and the growing popularity of esports. Now, Rajan mentioned esports. That is another area which we are seeing a tremendous amount of growth happening from. There was a time when only a few people were playing, which was when we could have termed it as very niche. Now we see a lot of people watching esports, which is again another way in which mainstreaming is beginning to happen. Now, in terms of statistics, if we look at it, this market is expected to grow in 2022 from a $2 billion USD to an almost 5 billion by 2025, $5 billion USD by 2025, which is a CAGR of about 28 to 30%. In terms of gamers, we expect this to expand in the year 2022 from about 400 plus million gamers to around 500 million plus, which is again a huge increase in the number of gamers that we see. Now, one of the key drivers of this growth has been the rise of indigenous gaming hardware manufacturers and developers. I think these visionary minds have not only identified a niche in the market, but have also tailored their products to cater to a unique demands of the Indian gaming community, from very high performance gaming laptops to consoles, cutting edge peripherals, etc. We've come a long way. Furthermore, the industry has also been an incubator for innovation. We see a lot of cutting edge innovation across industry, which includes elements like, let's say, advanced cooling systems, ultra-responsive displays, ergonomic designs, etc. All these have actually added up and made this a much more exciting and bigger place. And not only in gaming, we see kind of the hardware technologies having a wide range of influence over various areas like healthcare, education, and in simulation as well. Not only that, I think there's another angle which we need to touch upon is that this, since it is an extremely fast-growing industry, we see tremendous opportunities coming up in terms of, software development, manufacturing, marketing, skill development. So this is another social angle which is actually coming up in a very, very, very fast pace across. Of course, we see challenges. We see challenges in terms of, entrepreneurs facing challenges in terms of entry-level barriers, competition, rapidly evolving customer preferences, etc. As a body, I think one of our goals is to try and eradicate these challenges, and we will continue to, these kind of forums will probably address that to a very high extent. Finally, to realize the full potential of this sector, it is imperative that stakeholders across the spectrum collaborate, which is why we are here. This includes government bodies, academia, industry players, and the passionate gaming community. Policies that foster research and development, incentivize entrepreneurship, and promote skill development can actually contribute significantly to the industry's growth trajectory. Equally important is nurturing a culture that celebrates innovation and embraces diversity. In conclusion, the Indian gaming hardware technologies industry is not merely about entertainment, as I mentioned, it's kind of wide-reaching, and it's a testament to our nation's technological prowess, resilience, and unwavering spirit to excel on a global stage. As we stand at the cusp of a new era, let us embrace this opportunity with open arms and propel India into a forefront of gaming hardware innovation. Together, we can create an ecosystem that not only drives economic growth, but also leaves an indelible mark on the pages of technological history with the Indian Digital Gaming Society. Actually, if you ask me, before I conclude, how do I summarize the way I look at this industry from the time when I was there 10 years ago from now? I will say, as I began, it's a sea change. The number of consumers that we see today are all, there's a large number of consumers who are first-time players, which was not the case earlier. So that means this is one of the signs of a kind of movement of industry from a niche to a mainstream. And probably we are at this very right time, at this juncture here, to address that great opportunity that exists. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prosenjit, and really taking and talking about gaming and gamification beyond just entertainment. We're really privileged now to hear from our chief guest for this morning's inaugural, Shri Vikram Sahay ji. He's the Joint Secretary, Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Government of India, and a key person who is really shaping this agenda for our country. Really privileged to have you. Thank you.
Mr. Rajan Navani from the IDGS, Mr. Sohn from KRAFTON, and Mr. Prosenjit Ghosh from SONY. Let me first of all congratulate the IDGS and the CII for having organized this summit, and also for thinking of me and inviting me here, because when they came over to invite me the other day, I was not very sure as to what I can contribute. But I came essentially for the reason that I would be able to listen and learn from all of you. And I think to that extent, the words of great experience which all three of you which have over the last several years, barring Mr. Sohn, he said he started at the age of 22. He looks 25. So he's still a very young player in the gaming industry. But really, your experience and that of Mr. Ghosh really illuminates all of us. And I'm sure all of you who are sitting here have loads of experience in this sector. And for us in the government, the only thing which we can do is to learn from you and to understand as to what best we can do for you. Of course, I forgot to mention that my sincere apologies for being late and keeping you holding up for about 45 minutes. Something got stuck up in the office. You all are aware that the Ministry of Information Broadcasting, along with other ministries in the Government of India, now we have more of a holistic approach towards matters and themes rather than working in silos in various ministries. So the Ministry of I&B, along with Ministry of Skill, Education, etc., we all work together, and based on a mandate given in the finance minister's budget speech 2 years back of a task force on the AVGC sector. So a task force was created, and that task force gave a draft national policy some time back, and that is already on the public domain. I was fortunate to have chaired one of the sub-task force on gaming. So I was able to have the benefit of large number of people from the gaming industry who could give those inputs and could help us in framing our recommendations. And those recommendations now got merged into the national level report. There's also a state level report, so that all these drafts are in public domain for all of you to take benefit of, given your suggestions. And this type of summit which you are organizing today and the deliberations which you have will all go into whatever inputs which we want in the government. So to that extent, it is timely and useful that you have organized it. And I do hope that IDGS does it more often in the future, leading up to the finalization of the government policy. And therefore, I would really look forward to the deliberations which take place today, and in a couple of days, if you're able to form up your views, especially as to what you expect from the government, it will really help us in trying to take this mission forward. You talked about the numbers in terms of the potential, which actual and potential for this country, in terms of how this industry is expanding. I don't want to get into those numbers. But yes, we are now a big, visible global player that is emerging from what all people have been talking about. And that is really good for this country, that we are a serious player, a visible player, and we make a difference in the world, in this industry, as in so many industries, and now also in the satellite and the space industry as well. So now what was there in the draft policy and what we are looking also is having a mission mode sort of a project where we try to bring in education, skilling, innovation, all these things together on a mission mode. And also what has been recommended, and that is something which is very, very important, which we want see to happen sooner than later, is to have a dedicated fund for this sector, AVGC, including gaming as well, and which can help in the growth of the infrastructure, in trying to develop, incubation labs, and also in the R&D support. I think a very valid point which Mr. Ghosh just mentioned about how we can use gaming in schools, in education, in health. I was mentioning the other day to your friends who had come to meet me that we wanted, as part of the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, we wanted somebody to prepare an online mobile game on the freedom fighters of the country. And we developed this online game called Azadi Quest. Of course, it's a freely downloadable game that was developed in last year in August, and it was developed by Zynga Sports, which has a sizable presence in the country, in Bangalore. And they developed in a record time of 2 to 3 months. And it was a beautiful game which you can play, and you can play, try to rehash your own memories of history, and also tell your children or whoever you are in school to play. When I played, and a lot of my friends played, it was found very interesting. So that takes you through the entire freedom struggle, about the personalities, about the events from 1857 up to 1947. And you can share, you can engage, and it was very interesting. So this type of schools, children who have played or teachers who have played have found it very interesting. So that is one aspect. And what Mr. Ghosh was mentioning, that it is no longer something which is elite or something very different. Oh, you are playing a game. No, I think it is something which children are playing, and children are getting entertained, children are learning. And that brings me to the point that when we are preparing, when we are using content, now this country has a very rich culture. So we can use our own culture, like we see a lot of web series which are rooted in our own culture. Similarly, we can have games which are rooted in our own culture, and then that can go abroad. I mean, Indian culture is going, we feel that it's our own culture, but you do not know, let us realize the value of our own culture. And that if we are able to develop games which can go international, which really is able to speak about a culture, I think that would be tremendous. I mean, something like our epics, like Ramayana, Mahabharata, if we are able to convert them into some sort of a game or something where people can learn and try to understand, that will be great. And I give it as something which all of you can work upon. I know these are very costly exercises. This is making a game itself is a very, very costly exercise. But of course, we have a very large pool of skilled resources, so that should not be a problem. And also trying to see how we can try to help in terms of support international collaborations for our industry. The way CII, FICCI, they come forward and try to bring small, medium, large, all businesses together, how the government itself can help in the participation of our people from the gaming industry in international expos, in international forums, so that you learn, you collaborate, you co-produce and grow. I mean, that is something which we can always support, and trying to make India as a global hub of the gaming industry. So I'll stop here. There's not much which I can contribute right now, but I look forward to your contribution and I look forward to your suggestions and recommendations. Thank you so much for having called me in. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much, Vikram Sahay ji. I think your points around culturalization of gaming and so many other aspects that you touched upon, which will position India, as the global hub for gaming, are really encouraging. And I think, as you'll see, for the first time, or not many, very often you find CII bringing so many young faces into a room, but that was our bet because, gaming also is in a way representative of the passions of the young generation and a great way to communicate. So I know you raised that and of course compliments to everyone, but that's the beauty about this industry. Tremendous optimism, tremendous catch up. Like I think both Sohn and Prosenjit also mentioned, and in Bangalore, the previous meet we had NVIDIA's managing director, and you would just know that the only fifth $5 trillion market cap company in the world, NVIDIA is and he was very clear that the graphic part used by gaming is really what has driven it to that position. So, there is tremendous opportunity for both value creation as businesses, encouragement as gamers, and looking at this even beyond entertainment. I think that is really, one aspect. And since you talked about Indian culturalization, I haven't talked about our company, JetSynthesys, but, we created a simulated cricket game, Real Cricket. We have over 260 million downloads and, about 3 million people play it every day. But the beauty about this, and play it for nearly 40-50 minutes, is that the world is learning how to play simulated cricket and cricket through this gaming. And, we did a esports championship between the US and India on Real Cricket. And, for the first time, the undersecretary from the White House, he was also a young person trying to build young generation interaction between our two countries, was the chief guest. And you should have seen his expression when US beat India in cricket on electronic. He went, yay, finally, United States beats India in cricket, but it was on a digital version. And today, I don't know how many of you saw, but there's a large cricket league that is being played now in the US. And cricket resonates with India. It's in a way a cultural export, from India. Of course, we also have Sachin Tendulkar's game and things like that. But these are the nuances. As you said, if we go into our culture, we go into history, there are so many aspects of India that we can take out. So thank you for, expanding the horizon of what gaming could be. And we really look forward to being with you, and continuing this dialogue, sharing with you, positive areas in which the industry and government can collaborate, and look forward to your continued support, as we go ahead. I also want to thank Sohn and Prosenjit for sharing your thoughts and really, giving a very holistic dimension to gaming from India, for India, and for the world. So again, thank you very much. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. One round of applause for our plan. We also have 3 startups here who have come and are showcasing their products and games at the back. So if we would like to, take a look, we can do that for 5 minutes and end the session. Thank you.